while you probably need to search 5 to 10 minutes for a file in a file management system, such a knowledge agent gives you your answer in 30 seconds. Plus, you then make it also collaboratively. What I quite often do is I ask, what is TextCortex user growth or revenue growth? I get an answer, and then collaborative, iterative work on top of it. I just say, please write this into an email for our investors.
Hi, my name is Dimitri Benici, and I'm a content creator, agency owner, and AI enthusiast. You're listening to the AI Agents Podcast, brought to you by Jotform, and featuring our very own CEO and founder, Ida Tank. This is the show where artificial intelligence meets innovation, productivity, and the tools shaping the future of work. Enjoy the show. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the AI Agents Podcast. Here today, we are very happy to have two of the most interesting people that I've met in the productivity and SaaS and AI space from TextCortex. Want to introduce yourselves?
Sure. My name is Dominic. I'm one of the co-founders of TextCortex. Started the company 3 years ago together with my co-founder Jehun. And 3.5 years later, we have about 2 million website visitors every month on the platform. Multi-million registered users, been in the space since it was still called natural language generation, and today have on the one side been named G2's fastest growing, one of the fastest growing products of 2024 by G2, and Gartner also recently put us on the shortlist for top generative AI platforms, particularly when it comes to customization. Knowledge agents are one of our main use cases we are today deploying to bigger enterprises and B2B cases. And here I give over to Barish, my right hand.
Hi. I'm literally on your right. I'm Barish. I'm currently responsible for the growth operations at TextCortex. Pretty much everything related to growth. It's been a little over 2 years now. It's been such a journey. I'm mostly worked in the startup landscape, not so much of a corporate landscape, and I think that has a lot of ups for me throughout my career. It's like I don't want to call myself like a growth hacker, but you learn all sorts of stuff to quickly leverage in whatever market you're in. So it made me, I think, quite flexible, and even without any prior knowledge in this AI industry or in this natural language processing or generation. I learned quickly, read a lot of stuff also on the technical level and also in the application level, like how the product building is happening in this scene. And now I'm responsible for the growth operations at TextCortex.
Our engineers also see Barish now as a backend developer.
Yeah, I also build a lot of things on the side to finance my marketing operations.
That's funny.
That's frugal, and you got to be frugal in the startup world.
Yeah. So speaking of startup, I know you guys have been around for a couple of years. I'm sure the journey to getting to millions of active users per month is not necessarily a boring story. So I definitely want. It's probably going to be pretty exciting. I'd love to hear a little bit more about kind of the story of how TextCortex came to be, and how you got here.
It originally started under the desk of my co-founder. Jehun is my technical counterpart. And back in the days when I met him, he was already fine-tuning GPT-2 models under his desk. Today I call it the heating, because every time something happened, he had already a product description generator running in beginning 2021. And every time somebody did something with this product description generator, suddenly the heating went on. But quickly afterwards, we started working. We first built an AI writing tool. This was kind of like the first wave of generative AI, where hundreds of companies were built, thousands of products, most of them also dead today. It was the first wave of generative AI. That was GPT-3, which enabled a lot of people to build something with it. Many didn't do so very sustainably and with a focus on retention. And then you could see the waves. I think the next wave was image gen, then 2022. Then came chat assistants. Yeah, first of all, not with the fancy APIs as we know it today. When ChatGPT was released, one of our backend engineers had built a similar context handling system already for a coding product for his own work. So we quickly could reverse engineer ChatGPT. That made our shift a little bit into the assistant space. Then early 23, we were pretty dissatisfied that they all sound generic, can't really hold you a pen. And we went deeper into what needs to happen that this AI sounds like you, knows what you are. From very early on, also deep workflow integration. One of our first products which felt really well and was a nice experience was our browser extension. So we usually saw this whole implementation in 3 steps: behavioral customization, knowledge customization, and workflow customization. And from there, this journey just grew further and further when one of these big AI writing tools raised a 100 million plus round. I come from the VC industry beforehand. I basically told our team, we cannot fight this behemoth with ads.
Yeah.
We need to find other frugal compounding ways to grow. And that's when Barish joined us roughly 2 years ago. A fellow founder just gave me his secret sauce on how they built a content production engine, which has scaled to millions of website visitors already. And we basically took this learnings, Barish mostly reverse engineered it, and we applied it for us. And today we have how many? 10,000 plus landing pages on the textcortex.com.
Nice.
For each intent you might have for generative AI, you will most likely find an article of ours. And this is how we farm not only engagement, interest, inbound leads today. There were Fortune 500 customers coming through this content today, German publicly traded companies, many of these hidden champions somewhere in the forests of Europe, also now under our belt. That's how this growth journey happened.
I think
Awesome.
That's really cool. Dimitri, let me take over. Ask the next question. It's really cool that you actually use your own product to grow your own product. And that's very interesting story because like you were able to get to 1 million users, and that's an amazing number in just 2 years. And you mentioned that you actually use your own product to build this content engine to drive traffic to your website, to drive like 2 million visitors every month to your website. So this actually proves the success of your product. So I'm really curious about like more details about that success. Like what made your product so special that you were able to like bring traffic. Like many people actually use AI, but they weren't very successful. They didn't get like they were like punished by Google because they generated AI content. But there was something special about what you did that actually made a big difference and that brought you this success. Can you talk a little bit about that?
So we do have processes, and there's all like there's a lot of noise around Google or any other search engine like analyzing it, AI generated content. But in their own documentation, it actually says like it has no relevance any relevance. Like it doesn't matter whether you use any automation or any kind of AI to generate those pages. What matters is that does it look spammy or does it look like does it give the reader any value or not? So this is the simplest thing, of course, to keep in mind, but also the most important one. So you don't want to spam your page like with so many of the same or similar kind of keywords or phrases. So we do have this kind of process like written out. It's like a 6-7 page document that how we do content, for example. This is just particular to content. or any kind of landing page generation. And we do have this content. So when on our platform, like it allows you to create a knowledge base and share it with your own team. And currently, like we use Notion to store such documentation and so on. So you can basically connect this document and have AI basically access to that information and create something new out of it. And our platform also, for example, allows you very granular customization options so that you can, for example, tailor the tone of the responses and add some rules, guardrails, like you must always do this, never do that, so on. So you can basically have up to 20 different rules. And we have a lot of users that max out on these rules because they want a lot of customizations and guardrails. And I mean, we had this incidents where, for example, I think it was Chevrolet now. Chevrolet's AI chatbot selling or like promising to sell a car for $1 because of like, yeah, I mean, this is kind of the issues you don't want to happen, and with the guardrails that we allow you to configure in like very simple steps, prevent such incidents. So with the amount of customizations we offer to our users, with the knowledge, I don't know, internet search, and all this tone personalization, you are able to create a very unique page and get a first draft. I'm saying first draft because this is the point and the extent that we use our product for content creation. And once we get the draft, we still have humans in the loop that take it from there and just improve upon that. I don't know. And we, for example, use internet search again to find some footnotes to back up our claims in that content, give some more stats, industry reports, and to make the content look more enriched, so to say. And those kind of stats impact the credibility of your content as well, which allows you to eventually rank higher on those. For example, we do have a lot of market research, generative AI in Switzerland, Germany, Austria, and so on, the DACH region, so to say. And many of these pages rank quite higher. So in that kind of content also allows us to be referenced on third-party media outlets. For example, if it's like I don't know, like sites like Statista or something like that. For example, look for generative AI, how it's impacting the workforce in Germany, for example, and they come across our content and they reference to it. And then when there is a backlink coming from them, the credibility even boosts up further and allows us to drive more clicks or leads, essentially. So this is basically, we still have humans in the loop. We still have editors, content editors, and authors that use our product to a certain degree integrated. Like, for example, as Dominic also suggested, we have a very integrated Chrome extension. So if we are creating the content pieces on Google Docs, you can pretty much also use our Chrome extension on the side or right within the line. You can rewrite stuff, you can fix some of the grammar mistakes and so on. So it's truly feels integrated. So this is pretty much how we used our product so far, and created a little over 10,000 pages.
It was also a process ultimately. Yeah? Initially, it was you who did the strategy and quite a bunch of the copywriting as well. Now also to put some numbers behind it. We have 2.5 copywriters who are supercharged with our own product, basically. Also something like with the heavy citations and finding those numbers. This is something which we, for example, got inspired by consultancies. Many of our customers today make consultancies, usually 50 to 100 plus consultants then within the company. If you want to wow these people and that they cite your content, you need to give them numbers. Yeah? Yeah. There needs to be a footnote to whatever you do. Research can be easily done with an online search. Badish nicely described the customization in terms of, maybe aligning to a brand script. We have a very informal brand. We are very direct, very honest in general. This just comes from the base company values and mission which we have set out, based down on the persona. You want to connect the dots in between blog posts, put it into a knowledge base. Ask for when did I write about something about how will generative AI impact productivity in the DACH region, so Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. And this combination in also making ourselves the biggest and the most active user of our own product, comes with high quality measures, respectively also leads to a better product. This was always the biggest goal. And that's also what today I basically drill our sales team on. I don't care about a new sale. I only care if the same customer says after the initial period, either they continue with us, that's great, or even they further expand with us. We have a Fortune 500 customer who in the last year, I think they started in March, April, they tripled their account with us.
Nice.
To a good six-figure account. And these are the stories which, on the one side, you need great product, but then also great service to it. And I think a little bit later, we will also talk a little bit about how do people accept agents in the workforce? How do people work with AI? Because this is still the biggest problem when many people still feel a little bit lost where to start. Everybody talks about AI. Let's think about some of the Google presentations last year, where just the word AI was mentioned 50 times. But how? I sat down with workers' councils in Germany who were concerned about implementing those tools. Not helpful. You need to, this typical German angst. It shouldn't be like this. Give the people, empower the people to test things. Generative AI they won't always have a set use case. But what we've seen from the interaction with a general purpose assistant, so to say, at one point people start building their own use cases. So out of our small assistant interface, people started building invoice recognition tools.
Wow.
And then they approached us to, how can we make this a workflow product? How can we make this into an API product? And that's slowly how you expand. We come back to the topic of retention and expansion, which is mattering the most to stay around in this market.
What were some of those specific concerns that you actually were hearing from the people at the workers? I didn't hear if you said conferences or councils. One of the two.
Workers' councils.
Councils, okay. Yeah.
It's something very common in Germany.
Okay.
But people are, in particular, Germany is a little, especially when it comes to data, due to history. But employees are afraid that employers, for example, spy on their employees. This is in particular in Europe. It's always a big question mark. Some of our US customers also work with us because we have a European infrastructure, and they rather trust our data security and our transparency and our approach to the topic than, for example, some US competitors. So this is the part on the whole security, privacy side, where then people come in, ask questions. There are already, for some of those big assistant tools, they are not only selling the productivity gains, but also the observability gains for management, for example. This is already something which you can hear in some discussions in bigger enterprises. This much about the workers' councils. Another anxiety you usually also are not so much an anxiety, it's more an adoption blocker. It is what's the use case? Why are we using this thing? Because a chat interface, and this is where oftentimes it lacks in creativity for many people. What am I throwing in there? Is this just here to write emails for me, or am I writing blog articles? We have some of our power users, they started comparing documents with each other. One of my most actively used agents on our platform is actually a legal consultant, which I call Harvey Specter, like in the Suit series. Just to sometimes think about some legal perspective, and that the telephone of my lawyer is not heating up because I constantly call him with all these enterprise contracts at the moment. But you need to be open to test those things out, and you need to give particular corporate enterprise employees the space to do so. Oftentimes the buying process looks like, what's your use case? Okay, then we go in. Now it oftentimes starts with, okay, We have no idea of use case. Everybody pressures us to do something.
Mm-hmm.
We usually start with a POC, or what we now do is service-led sales. We do the most German thing and sell driver licenses for AI. As kind of like a first approach. Let us give you an idea what you can do, and then we narrow down. But always interaction. Have regular meetings, gamify the whole process. Put some of the employees a little bit into the spotlight and say, hey, these 5 people here have outperformed everyone in terms of interaction with the tool. Also helps us in our support. We've seen this plenty of times. You do that for 3 to 6 months, and I'm very open about it, because the more support and service we have given in the beginning, the team itself at one point starts onboarding. I just had one of our oldest customers is now 2.5 years with us. I just had an onboarding with this. I still manage this account because it was one of the first ones. These people were raving about us still after 2.5 years, even with so much competition, and they always find something new in the platform as well.
I mean, essentially, really the use. I mean, this is also why we. I mean, I've been telling you to work on, for example, like together, let's work on this use case videos and so on, because we want to really make use cases more apparent. And I think, I mean, the value essentially lies under these use cases. Like, yeah, everybody says, "Oh, AI is cool," and now they say AI agent is cool, but essentially. I mean, we will talk more about it, but the value lies in the use cases. Like, what is it for? What value you can derive out of it to make your life a little easier. And on the product building level, we also try to. I mean, the technicalities or all these infrastructure could be awesome as it sounds, or like could be really complex, because our research team also like loves talking about a lot of, oh, let's build this, let's build such a workflow and make it also visible to the users. And it's not the best idea most of the time, because it just makes things more complicated. And that's why we've been contemplating on these AI agent concept as well, and how we should be how it should fit into our current ecosystem in a way that still creates value with the respective use case. But essentially, that's really a challenge, especially in large organizations. Like, people, especially in the management teams, I think know what can be improved, but then comes some of the concerns or the applications at scale and how it can be done. And then during that process, we usually just do hand holding.
I'm curious about the use cases. Like, can you talk about like top 5 use cases for TextCortex, and like how did you discover them? Like, what did you use to discover those use cases, and like talk a little bit about like how people use TextCortex.
Yeah, I mean, those use cases were discovered through 2 enablers. First of all, we had a platform which was very easy to customize. It was basically built a way that we can customize agents quickly, and that helped us when we approached customers. What turned out for us as a great seller, in Germany you would say sell something like warm bread, was knowledge agents. This can be described quite quickly. Imagine many use a Google Drive or a OneDrive, for example, to file a lot of knowledge, file all their information, files, presentations, PDFs, yada yada. And then I constantly have this, for example, with my lead for B2B and partnerships. The guy is producing slide deck over slide deck, and sometimes I need something and I can't find it. I ask him, because he's working in his own little knowledge structure world on Google Drive. We internally use Google Drive. If you ask something there or search something there, you might find it if you build a structure. If you didn't build the structure, very little chance to find anything. If not, you have very, very set processes, but they will always get broken. No matter in which organization I worked, there's always people who file information somewhere else. A knowledge agent is there to, use a tool such as access your Google Drive, do searches, find the right and relevant files, and respectively, very quickly, this agent can give you an answer. And what is then extremely important is proper referencing, proper citation. Ideally, and this is currently what we support with PDF files, if you click on a reference, it should move you to the sentence where the information comes from. Yeah, and this comparison, maybe we can also later in the video, we have one slide showing that, Google Drive versus us, while you probably need to search 5 to 10 minutes for a file in a file management system. Such a knowledge agent gives you your answer in 30 seconds. Plus, you then make it also collaboratively. What I quite often do is I ask, what is TextCortex user growth or revenue growth? I get an answer, and then collaborative, iterative work on top of it. I just say, please write this into an email for our investors. Beautiful. My job is done. I can fire myself as one of the co-founders and can move on with my life. So in a search operation, it's only one step at every time, and then a lot of manual work. This has been one of the best-selling use cases. And then you see other more workflow relevant use cases building. I don't know, invoice recognition is quite near. Metadata generation as well. This is a new product which we will launch soon. Imagine whatever files you upload. We had this quite often. A first recommendation of the confidentiality level, which type of categories are in there. We worked on a project with a major German automotive vehicle builder. I don't know what that's probably the right word. They've hired an army of seniors and students to label a lot of files to see whether whatever they have created the knowledge a decade ago is still relevant today. This is a task which you can also have a large language model evaluate if you have the right ways of recognizing information.
But it was a step, like a lot of step in also on the product building level. Like when we first introduced this knowledge concept, we saw the need from the users. Can I people at first, people weren't even aware of such a need. It was way before this retrieval augmented generation concept. And first bring this onto our platform, then people started asking questions. It would be so cool if I can just integrate my Google Drive. It would be so cool if you could use this on SharePoint, and so on. And then we started building those integrations and basically try to keep everything in sync and with a flawless infrastructure. But now it's not only about retrieving some information and referencing, but now they want to build something new out of this stuff, the current data for, I don't know, if you have some sort of a situation, for example, for project management, and now you are, for example, you onboard a new client, but it's a very similar project that you did in the past, and now you want to use that knowledge and apply it to a new case. So that's a completely new information, but you can still use AI to look at the information in the past and just generate something new out of it. And these will be eventually even more improved and will be more sophisticated with the concept of agents. But then again, I can talk more about this later, but I don't think you would need an agent or for every single task. So then it boils down to, again, use cases. What kind of stuff you need an agent for, and what kind of stuff you can just get things done in zero shot.
We have internally a nice overview on how we see the AI or these AI product market. We always talk about first step is generic AI. This has been, the GPT-3s, etc., which were used or even today's models to just build a very plain one use case writing tool, for example. I've recently encountered yet again in Berlin a new LinkedIn post writing tool, which everybody hypes, where I was thinking wow, that this train was already running 2 years ago. Finds a little bit here and there a smaller niche where distribution was key again. So you have generic AI, you have personal AI. This is when you give people all the tools to customize this interaction. And then later you really have this autonomous AI, where agentic you can place in there, even though, I mean, I see agents or agentic AI more as a spectrum. Then I would say this is this one specific thing, because ultimately the end user, they don't care whether they call it a Copilot, an assistant, an agent, Herbert, whatever. We have had great experiences with our enterprise customers, giving an identity to an AI and just calling it Marvin the whole time, because it binds the people a little bit closer. It doesn't make it feel so strange. If you would say, if you say in German it's an agent, most of the people think it's a spy, because agent and agent in German is a spy word. That's not what you would usually use it for in or it's a individual agent to do something. It makes total sense, but for the common user, they also build some anxiety. You want to move around this, and every type of use case you want to have needs a different type of toolbox, whether that is data analysis, image generation, also RAG, so retrieval of some information. Not all of them need access to all of them all at once. It needs to have a strong large language model. On the one side in English, what we oftentimes see as European players, what's with French, what's with German, what's with Spanish. We became extremely viral in Latin America as well, because we had some great creators from down south, and they brought masses of students to us. I'm still amazed by how this happened. Today, this is not so much of an issue anymore. A Claude 3.5 Sonnet has great response time, great multilingual generation, is overall quite stable. And now in social interactions, you can already see comparisons. Shall I use O1 or shall I use Sonnet? Most people prefer Sonnet for simple tasks, because you get a response in 3 to 5 seconds, while O1 thinks for a minute. I remember the first versions of our platform, I think they needed on average 90 seconds to respond. We had these GPT-2 fine-tuned models, or early GPT Neo, etc. models, which were fine-tuned on blog posts, etc. They were extremely slow. They couldn't stream tokens, stream words basically, such that you could immediately get the feeling as a user of value is already being created for me. Yet some of the users we had back in the days were actually paying for this. I'm still wondering. But this were the early days. Very slow, needed time. I think one of the biggest challenges also for agentic AI is solving context as well. An agent can only be as good as it knows things about you. And we have some extreme users who have conversations. They are hundreds and hundreds of thousands and millions of tokens long. So now I think Gemini is one model which apparently has 2 million tokens. I'm still looking for proper research where I would say I fully trust that it finds the needle in the haystack. I mean, I was also very skeptical back in the days of Claude when they released the first model with 100,000 tokens. Today, 200,000 tokens, no issue. Now we slowly get into the millions. And I think what we see currently with agentic AI and code generation, look at Cursor, Lovable, and how these tools are all called. They currently have the similar hype curve such as AI writing tools, because they became stable enough and iterative enough such that you can use them on a daily in your daily work. But you can also clearly see if you check out Hacker News, if you check out on Twitter what people say, if context gets too large, it becomes also difficult to work with them. So context, by far one of the most critical issues in this whole space.
Before we move to another topic, I thought that your vision was really good. Like you guys started first with like really doing search in knowledge base. Like you have this big database of like knowledge base. People are uploading their data, and then they are able to search on it, and they are even able to like find a sentence in like that big PDF file, whatever they are looking for. I think that's big, especially if you work for a big company. if you're a junior employee just starting out, trying to figure something out, like just search the knowledge base, find exactly what you need.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I love that idea. And I really love the next step, like the vision, which is you guys are gonna you guys are doing this already, basically like learning from this knowledge, learning from the work, right? So if you think about it, work is about like inputs and outputs, right? A customer comes to you, they need something, you have the skills, you have the knowledge, and then you give them an outcome, right? But if you think about it, agents can actually take care of all of them if they know, if they have the skills and they have the knowledge and they have the previous experiences. Like if they can see the previous jobs done, they can just like take the input, do the work using their skills, tools, whatever you want to call it, use the knowledge, and then give them the outcome. So the agent can actually use that knowledge. And the key thing here is that have that knowledge, have all those like conversations, have all those like PDF files, documents that have all the information needed, and then the agent can take care of everything. And I love that like vision. If you want to talk a bit about that mission, yeah, that would be great.
Well, thank you very much. I mean, the vision is ultimately also requires to be infused with a little bit of reality. Yeah, this is something which a lot of people who are also new founders who are newly entering the space, where now it's amazing because many people talk about it. Many companies do something. It's a little bit. There is a VC here from Berlin, Jans from Point Nine Capital. He made a great comparison in a blog article comparing the adoption of these AI tools, generative AI, to the adoption of CRMs. And this is what happens already. Yeah, there were in the first versions of CRMs, companies tried to build their own stack, which if you're a machine producer somewhere out of the forests of Germany, you shouldn't build software. Now, Volkswagen is also not doing the greatest job with their software. Or you buy, for example, a software which is a little bit premature, is not developing fast enough. We oftentimes have conversations of how will the market develop. Some of them do buying decisions now. Some of them also do building decisions at the moment.
Yeah.
One of our largest DAX, it's the German stock exchange company, huge multi or international company. Everybody knows the brand. They had built the first agent interface themselves. A good 6-figure amount of money they invested in this. It was built on GPT 3.5, I believe.
Oh, wow.
Which was immediately outdated when they had done it. The problem is they hired some agency for it. Nobody could update this API call to a different model. This is in the viscosity of an enterprise difficult to handle. So we came in now as vendor, as tech service, as tech provider and service provider as well. Respectively, you need to. I mean, there will be plenty of demand to fulfill such a vision of building a big and broad agentic AI hub and platform. There will be, in my opinion, for any market above, let's say, 50 to 100 million inhabitants. Think about Germany, think about France, think about UK. Each of them can host 2-3 multi-billion-dollar companies in this space. The US can hold several of those. Some of them will at one point go together and become the next Google, if they make it easy enough. And this is also what we play on at the moment. Sometimes it sounds a little bit too German, but look at SAP. This one tech company, software tech company, which Germany has, is unthinkable to take away out of ERPs. Why? Because they have the best customizability. The product is so complex that they need to build the services around it. AI agents are also complex. Yeah, our goal is still to have it, easily usable. That's usually what I say. why does B2B software need to be like a brick? We are required to do some ESG reportings, etc. And there are platforms which you simply cannot use. Costs a good amount of money. We don't pay for this, at least. But that's where we're always. This is my example why we said a bigger enterprise also just consists out of individuals. Give them a pleasure to use, and they will return, and they will continue using it. This is also how we beat Copilot. Many people compare us to Copilot because the Microsoft 365 subscription is not far away. Let's be honest. But many times people started using our product and they started simply loving it because it's built for usage. It's not built to get sold as fast as possible. And I don't know, with some arbitrary USP somewhere.
But essentially also, I think it would be a good segue into the product vision too. So we built the product. I mean, before that, let's preface this with, I think in a couple of years, I think nobody will question which model they are using, and it will still be only about the value they get out of it. They essentially want their response or the thing they're working on to be as accurate as possible, and it's just AI agents also are just a lever for that. I mean, AI agents essentially do what they think with the reasoning models. They reflect on the previous answer. They find some revisions to be made, and they improve that response and give you a better one eventually after you wait for maybe two minutes. But eventually the value you get out of that is higher than zero-shot use case. But similarly, how we built the product also to give them a much superior UX, that's one thing, but also I think this reference should be emphasized a little bit more, because like when, especially in organizations like enterprises, like you work with large amount of data, and you have all that complex access levels, and so you already have such a customized and sophisticated structure in your organization, and that also needs to be mapped out to our environment where you can reliably work and eventually get reliable results and accurate results. But we still we allow for example, like error in the AI responses. That's why we give you the most transparent UI on the side that you can immediately reference and just navigate to that file or that source of information and just compare the response to that source, whether it's accurate or not. So this kind of, like, it seems very small, but it's such an important UX that we want a huge deal just over this small thing. It's not even related to AI itself. It's just some small infrastructure addition that we built ourselves, just pointing to a right reference. It seems small, but it's a crucial feature that might prevent huge failures.
I mean, I was once talking with my co-founder when we were in our summer camp, somewhere where it's warmer than current continental Europe. It's currently -3 degrees here. And we were talking about what would be the perfect customization of an AI. And do you remember those Furbies? Those not horrific describes something beautiful. I had nightmares of these things. But usually, if you want to have beautiful customization to a human being, everybody from us will have, from the get-go, there's this small thing which records how we develop, which will also help human beings more or less develop, educate themselves. And this knowledge, this memory, this context of whatever this thing, this toy has collected will just change devices from, Badish, I will briefly take your laptop. This is the current Western way to work. If you look more to South or to more developing economies, you have phones, you have tablets where people work on. And also, I mean, what is the hardware device of the future? Jaehun would love that at one point we have an engineering department which does hardware, because he comes from the hardware space originally. We're currently laying out the tracks that this company can have enough cash cows to also do R&D maybe at one point into this space. If you think a little bit like what happens in 10 to 20 years down the road.
I bet glasses and chips here.
Who knows? Maybe it's a contact lens.
Yeah, we don't really know. I actually had a question regarding something you both had like alluded to. It's a two-parter, but kind of in the same realm. You essentially talked about how you feel like some of your key differentiators as you have gotten some large customers were usability, when you're referring to Copilot, and also the customer service that you provide. Obviously, people don't necessarily on a public level actually probably associate customer service with SaaS outside of when they're complaining that the customer service is bad for companies they like. So how have you found at TextCortex that you've managed to make both of these things, like at the forefront, and what have you done to make sure that it is so effective?
I think this comes from two spaces. I mean, first of all, I grew up in those German festival marquees, tents, these what you usually know from Oktoberfest. So I come from a hospitality service. You're simply nice to people. You try to create honest value for people. So this is kind of like a source root where this comes from.
Sure.
But then also just the expectation of delivering people something which creates value. This requires handholding. And then, I mean, it's a little bit of, it's also the American way a little bit. That's what I have soaked up in terms of American education on how to build great businesses. Technology is one part. Customer support is the other thing. You need to some degree also care about the people who are using your platform. And you can do this better on a B2B and enterprise scale than, for example, with the millions of users we have. This is where we said, okay, what is the next best level to educate in masses? This is blog content. This is also video content. You're well aware about what we are doing there. And showing faces. There are so many, we've seen so many AI products which sold some shady lifetime deal. And you knew that if people buy this for these 40, 50 bucks, or it ran down at one point up to €9, a lifetime deal for AI tools, where this has a lifetime with the API calls it does to the big servers. At one point, it will be done and dusted. I can also just recommend anyone who is in front of a buying decision, thinking about, is there a face to this company? Do they have mentioned that they care about that you will also build something with it, that you will gain value out of it? There's enough also weird faceless YouTube channels who will tell you, oh, this is how I made €5,000 with ChatGPT. This is also not the right thing to do. It is a journey. It is a service. And this is one big, I think this is one of the big USPs you can have in your company setup. That's plain simple. That's why we also decided to build such a way. That's why even us two are still joining bigger enterprises in their Slack and Teams channel. And we support employees right on the ground where the problem happens. No lock behind some emails or whatever. People pay us well. It is the least we can do to aim for you to be retentive or to expand your account, that we give you a great service. That's where this whole thing comes from.
Fair enough. Yeah. And what about the other part, the usability? You compared your own to Microsoft 360, or sorry, it's called Copilot. It's funny Copilot. That I stuttered on remembering the name. I think that speaks to the failure of that hitting the mainstream.
Yeah, I mean, there's Copilot Studio. When we started integrating OneDrive for some of our customers, there's also 10 storage products in Teams, in OneDrive, personal business. But it's difficult for people to understand. But simple things. We have this huge automotive supplier, 80,000 people globally. They named their AI assistant Marvin. And I've once visited them in this, it's not a small city, Stuttgart, somewhere in southern Germany. Their headquarters is huge. I was part of an internal conference about what they are doing in innovation, representing our product. And there was this one lady who came up to me and said, because there was she was excluded of early testings for some reasons I can't remember at the moment, But she came up to me and said, Dominic, I miss Marvin. They gave them the identity Marvin. One part. It felt personal. It was useful. It was also alongside the values of the company built. And then simply one of our first product visions, still when we were a plain writing tool more or less as a Chrome extension, we always said we want to be in every text box there is. In German, there's the saying, the bone is not coming to the dog. The dog needs to come to the bone. And if we look currently at how many people need to work today, is that they bring their work to ChatGPT instead of, the tool coming to wherever they are working. And that's where much of this usability and product vision has built on ultimately. Because to be honest, you might know this example if you go to the kitchen. Before you go through the door frame, you have a very straight goal what you want to get out of your fridge. As soon as you walk through this door frame, you have forgotten what you want. If it was a drink, a small snack, or whatever. It's the same thing if you switch those tabs. And I'm one of these horrible hoarders who have 5 Chrome tabs open with 40 tabs each. And I can't find where I last time worked. So that's why I say, please, I need this right where I work.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think having used the product and worked with you guys, I think it is a very usable product. And I really like the, maybe you can speak to this as well as a founder, Ideken, but I really like the customer service just approach you had. You said it in such a way that was just felt genuine regarding the appreciation. They pay us well. It's the least we can do. That's, I think, lost on a lot of people, especially like some of my generation, I think, even gets into the workforce and they assume, their value is inherent. So that means that the correlative economic value is, just required to be given to them. But especially when it comes to a business, that's something people don't understand. Like, you have to provide value like constantly. Else, the money will stop coming in. It's not the same as having a job. So I think just as a business owner, having that, approach is invaluable because it sets the ethos for the entirety of your company. So I think that was great.
Yeah, I think the customer service is going to change a lot with the AI, especially AI agents, that they're going to be able to take care of many of the things. And people are okay with that. People are okay because they're getting their answers, they are getting their resolutions, and as the service providers, we can focus on like their success, more like making sure building a rapport with them, making sure that we are really understanding them, improving our product, while the AI agents actually provide the customer service. And so we are actually also working on this AI product. I don't know if you have checked out the previous episodes, but it's going to be released next month in February. It's called Jotform AI Agents, and it's like basically it has like many different channels. I saw that you also had this like a chatbot. I think you also have a chatbot, but it will have the chatbot mode, like phone agent mode, like you can call. WhatsApp, we just built WhatsApp as well. Like you can just have a conversation with the brand, with the company over WhatsApp. So we are also building these channels, and we started the journey because we were actually like we were actually thinking about like, hey, why don't we make forms why don't we make it so that AI agents can actually help people fill out the forms, like just have a conversation and fill out the form, right? We started that way, but we saw that beta users were actually using it mostly for like customer service. So we are kind of like also improved there, but it's really exciting. I love working on AI, and so I've been working on this for over a year now. I feel like working on an AI project is kind of like taming a beast. It's like you have this dragon, but you want to make it do things, productive things. Like you want to make sure that it does things correctly, and you can't do that. It's just like you just have to spend the time, like make sure that it's working well, test things out, like give it to users, see what happens, and just spent some time on it and like build a good product. So it's usability. It's also about the usability. Like it's basically working on the user experience. Right, just put in those guardrails, put in those like structure around this beast. So you have this dragon, right? If you're not careful, it can burn you as well. But
Yeah.
you want to be able to ride it, so you can do something productive, like maybe burn your enemies or something, right? But I think AI is amazing. It has so much power, and every day it's actually getting more and more power. You started much earlier than us, like you've been doing this like 2.5 years now, and you already released that product 2.5 years ago. So you learned so much. So I also learned a lot from you. So thank you for sharing your experiences as well. Yeah.
That's well
Happy to
put.
help.
Well put. I mean, I would say just one thing. I mean, should I include myself? Yeah. I mean, all of us are founders here. I also founded a couple side things. But I mean, essentially, you guys deal with stuff that nobody could handle, and it just went up to you, and those kind of stuff you deal with. And I think similar thing also applies in customer service use case. So we have different layers. Like I think we will still have, I mean, for the next 3 years, I would say we still have humans in the loop, just overseeing, and AI customer service bots, I would say, will deal with the first layer operations, and then maybe they move on to the second layer, more complex stuff. I don't know. I want to cancel my subscription, for example. I think those kind of AI agents will be able to access your database, change the status of a subscription, and just update it. Maybe that's possible.
That's possible. You just need to give right access. So that's where it gets a little bit tricky.
So prompt injection stuff gets tricky.
You think have the human in the loop, right? Just tell it like your refund is going to be issued, but then make sure that some human is actually checking, making sure that something is wrong. But it's amazing. But what we are seeing is that like all the examples I've seen is like talking about how to issue refunds, even like agent force, like changing clothes. But what we are seeing with our users is we have around like 400 beta users that are actively using it at Chatform. Most of the time, it's not even there. Like it's even like they're just putting this chatbot on their website, and people are asking these questions, or they're just like giving this phone number to people, and then people are calling and asking about like maybe they're running a festival and they're asking about like when is this concert, what's the price, where can I park my car, all kinds of questions. AI is perfect. Like it's just like it can answer the questions correctly. You know this. You have been doing this for 2.5 years with knowledge based search as well. But like just even those pre-sales or like just like public questions are something most of the time actually the companies don't do it because it's just too much cost. Like they cannot put customer service people 24/7, or even like in regular hours when you call, like you have to wait like 45 minutes. But with AI it's just instant and the answers are great, and it's just it's already there. Like it's already providing value to people.
Great.
The international problem of waiting too long in a line of a telecommunication provider.
2025 and we couldn't solve this. Hopefully there.
What I'm curious about is also all these AI sales stuff, SDR companies, how far they will go. I think both of your inboxes as business owners are also full with AIs. I mean, I had recently the first AI SDR which called me in German.
Oh, wow.
Somebody was cheaping out, wasn't using 11 Labs for the voice. They were using the Azure standard voice.
No.
It wasn't a great experience. That was an instant bounce, I would suggest.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, we were talking about those type of sales. Some of the sales products that were funny on an episode a couple weeks ago, and we were just saying like all of these AI products that are trying to get you to utilize their product for sales. You end up having to book a call with a person in order to purchase the product. And we were just dying. We're like, I'm not convinced. Like, off the bat.
So surprised that they are selling a sales product, but their AI sales product, but their AI salesperson is not available. Like you have to book a call with a real human being, and the agent force, like they are hiring actually like 1,000 to 2,000 employees, like sales people.
Yeah.
Yes, that is. How would you say in the US? Hypocritic.
Yeah.
I mean, you can also see it in public discourses already. That I mean, it was an amazing pitch. Yeah, if you saw 11x Artisan and their rise, if this AI could do the job of 5 of your SDRs at 50K USD annual cost, maybe it was an easy buy for people to say like, oh, I want to test this. Let's test this out. This is also why these companies just shot up in revenue very quickly. Respectively, VCs just gathering around like it's Mecca, trying to invest in those companies. But now in the public discourse, you can see how many people are churning away again. This is where we then come back to this principle of bring value, be a great customer success supporter, build retention and expansion. This is sounds like an easy function, but many people chase the hype. It's also not.
Yeah. I also love your vision of seeing customer support as like the holy grail of TextCortex. Like if you're giving customer support, like you reached a very senior level. I would say. I mean, that's some tough nut to crack.
I still love to do customer support.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just randomly jump into some emails, which when I find a ticket flying around somewhere. I shouldn't do it, but I still love to do it.
Yeah. Well, I think we're kind of wrapping up. We actually hit an hour. It flew by for me. I really appreciate your guys' time. I just want to make sure that you obviously plug whatever you want to plug. We're going to make sure that we get you guys as much exposure as possible with your product.
Amazing. Thanks a lot, Banish. By the way, let's send them for the plug. Let's this one slide with this comparison for Google Drive. Let's send this over such that we can plug this in somewhere. But I think otherwise it was a beautiful conversation.
Thanks for having us. And it was an honor meeting you, Aytekin, as well.
Thank you for being a guest in our show. And I really enjoyed the conversation.
If we can help, just let us know. And Dimitri, also to you, we haven't seen for a long time, but thank you for all your work recently. I haven't joined any call recently. Badish is managing you so well that I'm just trying to put out fire somewhere else. But thank you a lot for your work.
I have no understanding how founders could ever be busy. So, All right. No, I'm just kidding. All right. Well, with that being said, thank you guys for listening to this episode. Make sure to leave us a review on Apple Podcast and watch the video version and subscribe on YouTube as well. We will see you in the next one. Thanks.
Bye-bye.